And I think the first pivotal moment that I experienced where my trajectory changed into entrepreneurship was when I realized that my actionable steps were not aligning with my desires of what I wanted my life to become. I want to be able to go back to my mom and tell her, your house is paid, your car is paid, you don't have to ever work another day in your life, you can actually retire.
True.
You don't need to worry about paying any bills. And also my own random, your random things of debt, like your school loan debt, all these types of things. I want all of that to be cleared out. I had to learn to approach that fear. I had to learn to feel it, recognize it, and then push it back down and keep it pushing.
All right, everybody. Vic Hill, 007 Streams, the 83K Way podcast. Welcome to another episode. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing a long time friend, Heather Thomas, HT Physique. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. I won't get into how nervous you are, but I don't think you should be because you're pretty dope and you're going to come out great on camera. All right, so we're going to bring Heather in. Why don't you tell them about yourself, where you're from, what people call you? Is it, do you go by Heather, or are you fully transitioned to HT Physique, HT? I know I've been calling you HT since college.
Yeah, it's been a while. So my name is Heather. I go by HT for short, HT Physique for long. That's how you find me on the Instagram, the Book of Faces, whatever you want to call it. A little bit about me. My job, my joy is to make you more mentally and physically fit. That's PHYT. So yeah, I do that in person here in Los Angeles, and then I do it online at the virtual fit gym at htphysique.com.
Dope. I've seen the transition myself.
You have.
So for context, I've known Heather since 2009, 10.
Yeah, 2008, 9, beginning of college.
Yes. So it's been a while. It's been a long while, but it's been an interesting journey. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring you on, is because I've personally seen it and it's been pretty amazing to watch. But I wanted you to kind of share a little bit more. I mean, I know that you worked at Enterprise for a little bit.
I did.
Always had the rental car hookups. It was amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people did until they didn't.
Exactly. And then get a little bit into family, something some things that I'm sure you sacrificed throughout the journey to full-time entrepreneur and killing it and traveling and getting people in shape and all that jazz. Yeah. So, you know what? There may be some questions. What nationality are you, Heather? I'm sure you get that all the time.
That's the question you want to start with?
Yep.
I like to keep this as the most ambiguous question. I really don't like to answer this question because it puts you in a box. Ooh. And my entire life, I have tried to not be in the box because nobody ever knows what the box is.
I like it.
Yeah, so I actually usually play a game with that question, which is, well, what do you think I am?
Yep.
And I just kind of go from there. And people always guess all kinds of crazy things.
We'll let people guess.
Yeah, let them guess.
Let people guess.
Yeah, let them guess. Drop it in the comments below.
I know people are going to ask. I don't know what she is.
But I got some indicators on right now that should tell you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, let's start with where you started, because entrepreneurship wasn't the original goal for you. Trained dancer. What else? I don't even remember what you majored in college.
Yeah.
You just hanging out with Frankie over at the apartments.
We were doing a lot of things that, was not having to do with school. Yeah. But I think to say where it all started was, I mean, if you really want to get to it, of course, you know, as a child, I took dance throughout my childhood, ballet specifically. So I'm ballet Giacchetti trained, which is where, you know, my, I guess, presence comes from. So I took that into college, but I knew that being a professional dancer was not going to be the route that I was going to make it at. So I entered into the corporate world, worked at Enterprise, and really had a journey while being there. At Enterprise, you're working 40, 50, 60 plus hours per week, super stressful. The clientele is and you really lose sight of doing things for yourself because you just graduated from college where you had all this extra time to do things like have fun with your friends and work out.
Meditate.
I never did that. And then all of a sudden, I didn't have any of that time. And so I kind of lost sight of myself and allowed that world to kind of engulf me. And I think the first pivotal moment that I experienced where my trajectory changed into entrepreneurship in that direction, at least, was when I realized that my environment and the things and my actionable steps were not aligning with my desires of what I wanted my life to become. So I used to be a half glass empty person.
A little pessimistic.
Yeah, I was always that person that had something to say that was smart, but negative smart. Like if somebody was like, if you were like, oh, you know, I just became officer, I'd be like, oh, well, now they're going to make you be doing all these crazy things as officer. Like, do you really want that?
Yeah.
You know, I was always that person. I always had something smart to say, but on the negative side. And when I realized that, that's when I had to make that mental shift. And I had to change my environment. So I had to quit Enterprise. I had to change the people that I was around. So I got rid of some friends. You're still around, so you were good.
I'm always positive, you know?
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
always something happening. So what caused that? What caused that? Like, what made you realize that? Was there something that happened to you or that you experienced and you were like, whoa, like I need to stop this?
Well, I guess I kind of started diving deeper into what the people are doing who have the lifestyle that I wanted. I wanted to be able to do all the, you know, work from home and have a working vacation and do all of those things, drive nice cars. But I realized that the situation that I was in, making the money that I was making, working the hours that I was working, and doing the things outside of those hours, like drinking, which I don't drink really much anymore. You know, you're not really getting a lot of things done. And so I realized in order to get things done, I had to just change. So I switched up everything.
Damn.
Yeah.
I remember some of those parties too.
Oh, well, I still know how to throw a good party.
You do. But you've changed. You haven't changed your core. And the core that I've experienced with you is that you've always been this positive energy, and that hasn't changed. I feel like you've made tweaks to yourself along the way to kind of like further catapult yourself forward, which has been pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think that's interesting that you mentioned that because energy is huge, and it's something I never paid attention to until people started telling me, your energy. And maybe it was something I was, you know, picking up from people who were around me, like you, who were already in that entrepreneurial mindset of positivity and growth.
I can't get rid of it, so.
It's an addiction. It's an addiction.
Yeah.
But once you know, somebody else says, oh, I'm on that pathway too, then you start to mold closer to those types of people who are actionable, growing, working on themselves, making moves. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you realized you needed to change. You made the shift. And how long ago was that now?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. In the car on the drive over. And honestly, it's only been like 5 years.
That's a good amount of time.
Yeah. So the picture that I posted on Instagram today, signifying this moment right here, was the very first picture I posted of HT Physique, my persona. And sorry, let's back it up. What was your question? See, that's what I'm talking about, tangents, where you're
it's
like,
all good. No, it's all good.
Somewhere.
So right now, I just want to kind of explore more into what that change was, what caused that change, for you to realize, like, all I'm doing is drinking. I don't have the right energy that's coming off of me. I'm being a little bit too negative, like all that stuff. Like, what caused it? Was it, like, I've spoken to people who said it was a relationship. They said it was their parents. They said it was a traumatic event to them. So what was it for you? For me, I have my own stories, and you know part of that. So,
yeah.
So
you're right. For everybody it's different, but it's always personal. So for me, I think I had a couple of personal things happen to me. By the end of my time working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, I had gained quite a bit of weight. I wasn't happy with the way I looked physically. I wasn't happy mentally. I was in process of basically ending a relationship. And there were just, nothing was really properly aligning. Everything felt off. My mom was kind of struggling by herself. She lives, works, everything by herself.
Which is where you got your dancing from, right?
Yes. My mom, she is just such a little bundle of joy. And when we talk about energy, her energy, always positive, on point. She almost has like this innocence to her. You've met her, you know?
Yeah.
And so for me to be around that, I think has really contributed to just keep pushing. Keep pushing. Yep. I don't know. That's the best I can answer that question. I have a lot of different factors going on.
Of course. Everybody does. Trust me. I don't usually get into my stuff because it gets to be a lot. And depending on who's around you, some can't handle that. Some can't handle, like I always refer to, Vic when he had the locks is a lot different than Vic, like immediately after and then like way after that. You know? Yeah. So we all go through our fair share of, for lack of better words, bullshit.
Yeah,
you know, the good kind and the bad kind.
Yeah.
So HT Physique, the big brand, the big energy, I would say, actually. The big energy.
As long as it's not big H, I'm good.
No, the big energy. I remember when you came over and you were trying to program like how you were going to do your first group sessions over at Kennethon Park.
Yeah.
Over at Kennethon. So I don't know this, and I've wondered for a while, but I know you were motivated to change yourself individually, but at what point were you like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do that for other people too. What? Because you could do it for yourself all day and none of that other stuff matters.
Yeah. That's a really interesting question. And I've actually had people ask me this before, and I had to actually think about it because I was really like, why am I helping people get fit? I don't understand. And then I realized there was a time where I was so into my own journey and I was so excited about it, telling people, oh, you can try this, you can do this, you can do that. So people had to start telling me, you're very passionate about this. You should look into this as something that you should make money on the side. And so that kind of was like shift. And then I was like, oh, fitness as a money maker. And then I started to realize, okay, passion, money maker. How do I turn my passion into a money maker? And it's really interesting that you mentioned the boot camp because that was one of the second really pivotal moments in my life where I went from employee to entrepreneur. I created the boot camp, but I created the boot camp before I was even officially certified in order to instruct. And that was because I was self-aware that I knew that I needed to be forced into something in order to get it done.
Ooh.
So I created the boot camp before I was officially certified so that I would have to get certified.
You just took a leap.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's one of those things that I've learned, you know, you for me anyway, I have to kind of put myself into a corner and force my own hand. And that's what makes me perform. So I did that. I started that boot camp. I ran that. You were at the very first one. Yeah. We need to find this picture and put it right here.
We're going to find it. We're going to find it. Yeah.
And those moments, right? So those moments, like, I look back on that every maybe like 6 to 9 months over the pandemic. I definitely looked over it quite a few times. But it's a really big moment because I created something from nothing. That's a win. And then I was able to get 20 plus people there on my first boot camp.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, I can do this. And then, you know, it just goes from there. Yeah.
That's awesome. And where was the second? So it was at Kennethon, and then it went over to...
So then after Kennethon, because, you know, there was like that 5-minute run, and that was really stopping a lot of people from coming to the boot camp was 5 minutes of running in the beginning.
I don't blame them. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither, because I hate running.
Yeah.
So I had to shift it over to Cheviot Hills.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
okay.
Cheviot Hills. So I was at Cheviot Hills for 2.5 years, and then, you know, you pivot and you change and you adjust. And when I felt like it wasn't serving me anymore, I kind of graded out. And then boom, pandemic comes. I brought it back. I always knew I would bring it back, but you know, I brought it back.
I like that you said it wasn't serving you.
Yeah.
That's super important. I've had to step back from things as well, and I would encourage everybody to kind of look intrinsically, like, is what you're doing every day of your life serving you? Mm-hmm. You know, or, you know, what are you leaning towards more percentage of the time? Is it like 80%? Like it's not helping you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty self-aware of you to even like realize that and make the switch.
Well, a combination of self-awareness, and I guess at one point I made that distinction between priorities and desires, and I'm sure you've made this distinction quite a few times in your life. Like, what do I want to have versus like what's actually important for me to do every single day. Yeah. And when those things align, when you're thinking about, okay, my priorities and my desires aligning, then you have adjustments.
It happens every day.
Commitments. Yeah, exactly.
Should I buy this black Balenciaga t-shirt, or should I go to Target and get a black t-shirt that's also 100% cotton?
Oh!
Same but different? You know, what should I do?
Yeah.
I went to Target, so... it was just easier.
Yeah. I mean,
but no, wants and needs, and you know, what fits into your grand plan and all that. I think I reevaluate every week, damn near. Maybe more than that. I'm like, okay, I can't do that. I gotta switch it up to this. Ooh, I can probably do this. And I try and nest it within like my end goal, my Z. Is what I always refer to.
My Z.
Yeah, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get to that later because I'm going to let you think about that. Because you told us your why and what got you started, and you didn't like where you were. And I think you went into, what was it, 2 fitness competitions? Or 1?
Well, I did 1. So I call myself a former bikini competitor. I might do another one, but I really don't know.
But that was a challenge that you also just jumped into.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you're hitting these on the head because that was my 3rd pivotal moment. I wrote all of this down in advance, and I'm like, wow, he's good. The bikini competition, that was really, really big for me in process, but when you get to the end of 3 months of grueling workouts, counting calories, saying no to friends and family, of going out to eat, and no, I can't go hiking because I have to actually go to the gym today. I can't fit in that type of cardio. I have to do this type of cardio.
Programmed cardio.
Yeah, everything is by a T. When you do 3 months of that, and by the end of it, you're completely exhausted, you're malnutritioned essentially, but you look great. Okay, you look really good, and you look really strong. But in reality, if anybody asks you to do anything other than like a shoulder press, you're done. After all of that, I realized that I could do anything.
Whew.
Because doing all of that, tracking the macros, doing the workouts, controlling everything that goes in and everything that comes out, not many people do that.
This is true.
They try.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go on a diet. And then, oh, darn, I just ate something that's not on the diet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was able to do that for 3 months. And that proved to me not only, okay, now I look great aesthetically. Now I've elevated myself in the fitness world. Now I've done my own experiment on how nutrition works and food and what workouts produce actual results. But I've also proven to myself that as long as I make a decision and I stick to it and I commit and I do the work, I can get it done. And that 2 months later, that's when I quit my other full-time job and then dove in headfirst into entrepreneurial independent contractor world.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because a lot of people ask me why I did the competition.
Yeah.
And the competition I did for, I wanted 6-pack, I wanted popping shoulders, I wanted my legs, I wanted leg definition because I got big legs. So I was really trying to get these like cut.
Yeah.
And I had tried everything up until that point, and I knew a competition could do it. But then the other side of it is like the mental portion of a competition. And anybody who's competed will tell you, it rocks your brain. Like it's so mental after a certain point. You just do it. Just get it done.
Didn't you push to get your certification in, what was it? Was it training? Was it fitness certification or nutrition?
Personal training.
Okay.
So personal training is the first one that I got. And then you have to do continuing education. So then I got a nutrition certification.
Okay.
And right now I'm currently working on my pre and postnatal certification.
Wow.
So I'm, as an entrepreneur, you're always looking to grow and expand, growth mindset. So building up my expertise and being able to provide that to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like what we get the most joy out of, right? Is being able to provide our knowledge to others.
I volunteer my time every week and mentor other veteran entrepreneurs.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, stuff like that. For me, it's really crazy that you asked me to be on this podcast, the 83K way. Because
yes,
while you're doing your entrepreneurial thing, just like you're venturing into a new endeavor with creating this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. You go through phases, right? And now I'm at the next phase of my business where I've established myself as an authority in my community. And I have my online business built and ready. And now it's time to elevate myself to bring in the masses. Mm-hmm. And one of those ways that I need to bring in the masses and that I can bring in the masses is continue to build my authority in my realm. And I literally wrote this on my my notes or wherever you want to manifest, but it was like podcast, TV, interviews, and then you texted me. And I was like, I love it. Manifesting, like literally to the T. And that's you already know about it. Manifestation is a huge, huge part of being an entrepreneur, because if you're not writing it down, seeing it on paper, doing actionable steps in order to get you there, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think that I write down, and we both contribute to our dream boards. My fiance and I always thought dream board, add it to the dream board.
Where is the dream board?
It's in a shared photo album.
Oh, really?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So it's always with us.
Yeah. Thanks to our phones.
Yeah, no, seriously. And I write down everything because I have to manage 5 calendars between Army, this, other businesses that I have, real estate, tech, all that, whatever. Yeah. So I always try and deconflict, and I'm always like, all right, so I have time to do this. But what is my end goal by, and I just did it. It was the 358 plan. I think it was 358.
Okay, I like this.
My 358 is in 3 years, in 5 years, in 8 years. And that's based off of me now being 32. Getting to 35 and getting to 40, you know, so I broke it down that way, and it's very individualistic, you know, and I realized people don't do that.
No.
They don't do that. And so Hannah and I, we wrote down maybe a couple months into our relationship. We wrote down on a coffee cup holder, the little heat holder. What do you call them?
A koozie?
It was like a koozie. The sleeve.
Okay.
The damn sleeve. We wrote down, you know, next year, you know, I'm going to go on a deployment. I'm going to probably propose around this time.
You wrote this engage down on a around this cup?
Time. Oh, yeah. It was on a coffee cup sleeve. And
wait, was this before or after? So this was before the barbecue that I came to, and then you were...
After. This was after.
This was after that. Okay, this is good to know.
So, but we also wrote down, like, we want to hit this level of income. We want to buy a house at this time. And so far, and that's what we manifested. We've been early on each one of those things.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Not having ever referred back to that
Ooh.
For a very long time. Yeah. It was only till, like, recently we were like, hey, you remember that sleeve? We should look at and we were looking at the timelines, and I was like, oh, shit.
Wow.
You know? When we met, we were both, I'll just put it like this. From 5 years ago to now, we have probably 10x'd our income.
Yeah.
And that's just based on us pushing each other and manifesting and continuously revamping. And I encourage everyone to do that shit, because everyone who's been on the 83K way, you're saying it. And I don't know, have you seen The Secret?
No, I haven't seen it. I don't really watch a lot of TV or movies or radio.
But no, I mean, like, stuff like The Secret, manifestation, the law of attraction, it is highly, highly, highly important.
Yeah.
You know, people kind of take that stuff lightly, like, oh, it'll be okay. Yeah, I want to do this eventually, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start putting that energy, like that tenacity towards the things that you love and enjoy and want to be, it just, I don't know, it just starts happening. And it's really weird.
It's really weird.
It's really weird.
But it feels really good when you're able to write those things down and you do all the work in the in-between time, and boom, you have a beautiful house.
Thank you.
You know, you're about to have a beautiful wedding. I already know.
It's going to be a party.
And then eventually you guys are going to have a beautiful little family.
Ooh, kiddos.
Yeah.
It's going to be a thing. So, yo, can you tell me about where you're at now with HT Physique?
Yeah, so HT Physique, my persona. I created that persona in order to give people the knowledge of getting healthy and fit and what it can do for you physically, mentally, all of that sort of thing. But then at a certain point, I realized that HT Physique is only going to connect with so many people, right? Because not everybody wants to look like me. Not everybody wants to do the things that I'm doing. So I had to make a shift in the brand to be more encompassing and more overarching. And so there I created the Phyt Brand, Phyt. And I did that because I was like, I've been diving into podcasts and all kinds of books and different things about how to run your own business, how to build an online business, how to make money off of working from home. And they were all telling me, okay, you got to be able to do something that everyone can connect to, and not everybody can connect to me. So I wanted to create an overarching brand that was easily recognizable, right? So I have my logo here. Also here. And I wanted something that was cool, right? That women and men could ultimately connect with. You know, if you're sporting a Phyt keychain, then I want you to be able to like, oh no, this isn't my girlfriend's or my fiance's, this is mine. You know, I wanted something that was cool. So flash forward, I create the Phyt brand, the pandemic hits. You know, at that point I was super burnt out on training people one-on-one, and I knew that I needed to really put some energy and time into growing the online business.
Oh yeah.
Because I wanted that residual income. One of my 7 streams of income. I needed it, okay? So the pandemic hit, there was nothing to do. My website had just been redone, so I was set up to go online. So I did. Pandemic hit, I just went everything virtual. Everything went online. So over the last year, I took the Phyt Gym, created the online version, built the in-person version, and now pouring my energy into building those 2 things out. And most of my energy is going to the online right now.
As it should.
Yeah.
That's highly important.
Yeah.
Residual income, multiple streams of income, all that stuff plays into, you know, I mean, of course there's other aspects, but the capability of building those streams of income with online presence is
untapped.
Yeah,
Unlimited.
We got the metaverse that's coming now with Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if I completely comprehend that, but, you know.
Most people don't, so it's okay. Yeah.
But it goes right on the line with your podcast. So I checked out your website, of course, and I looked at everything, and what we are talking about this whole time in terms of having a goal and then breaking it down step by step is literally what you have on your website. You're saying in order to become a millionaire, you need to make $83,000 a month, correct?
$83,333.33 a month.
Exactly.
On residual is $1 million.
Yeah. And then from there, how do you break that down? Well, you have your streams of income.
Yeah. So people don't, and the whole reason for starting this is because a lot of what you see online is I'm successful, follow me. Buy my course, do this, do that. But a lot of the stepping stones, both, you know, physical and mental stepping stones. So, you know, did you go through a rough relationship and that caused you to stop trying? Or that caused a roadblock to your success? However you define your own success, because that's also very individualistic. So, and that was the entire reason. It was just exhausting. And, you know, Instagram, all the socials, they can get very exhausting and overloaded with people who are selling. And it's like, okay, well, who the hell are you?
Why do I buy from you?
So I really enjoy getting to know people from where they started and the real shit that they went through to get to where they are. And letting other people know, like, hey, you can do this too, but it's not all like rainbows and freaking cookies, because there's stuff that you're going to have to go through to get there. I say all that to say the 83K, the podcast, the whole concept behind the name really contributes to everyone's desire, not everyone, but a lot of people's desire to become successful in their own right. It's not about the number per se, but it is about the freedom. And to have that level of freedom, like I just took 2 months off a while ago, and I was just like,
Nothing.
you know, went to Hawaii. It was great. It was great. Another one of my guests, Monica, also a good friend, she spent a month in Puerto Vallarta just chilling. And I'm like, well, what can enable you to live the life that you actually want to live? And is having that burning desire, that tenacity to take the necessary steps, and understanding that there will be sacrifices along the way.
Yeah.
So anyways, your brand.
Yes.
How are you building your streams from that brand?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very fitting being on the 83K Way podcast talking about streams of income because moving away from HT Physique, as I just mentioned, and then like going into the more meta brand of Phyt allowed me to start creating those multiple streams, those residual streams. So basically I built out the online gym knowing that that was going to be ultimately, for lack of a better word, my cash cow moving forward, because I always knew that the one-on-one hours wasn't going to fit forever. Like you only
Time is finite.
Yeah, you only have so many hours in a day. And so when people categorize me, and this is just a separate little thing, when people categorize me as a personal trainer, I'm like almost offended, because I'm not just a personal trainer. I'm literally a fitness professional. Ooh. I do personal training, yes, but I have a whole entire online gym. I own a gym where you could come work out without me. You don't need to be training as my client, right? So creating those streams, let's get back to that. So we have the gym, right? The physical location gym where somebody can come work out. We have the online gym, which has 4 or 5 different types of programming that fits within there. And then, you know, I'm trying my little dibble dabble in the stocks. So over the pandemic, I got into some stocks.
Yep.
And then I redid my 401k and my Roth IRAs, and I set those all up. Unfortunately, at this moment, they're not being added to because I don't have my corporate job anymore.
Right, yeah.
So I don't have the automatic deposit.
Yeah.
But I also added in another stream of income, which is, you know, setting up another type of investment, like a mutual fund.
Yep.
So not only do I have my business, which has all its different entities underneath it, but I also am dabbling in your area of expertise, which, how did you even get into stock? Because now I see you're like really into it.
Shoot.
Not from school.
No, but immediately after college, I was into financial consulting, so I got licensed as a financial professional. And then more recently, coming back from a deployment and then it being COVID, I threw myself into multifamily real estate investing and options trading and equities and things of that nature to kind of further refine all the things that are out there. There's so much money out there to be taken.
So much money.
So I was like, okay, well, if I could spend maybe 30 minutes in the evening and then 30 minutes in the morning to make, you know, anywhere from $250 to $1,000 a day. Okay, that's another stream of income.
Yeah.
So that's where I got it from, and that's just on pure, like, I want to make sure that the hours that I spend on anything is worth it for me. So before I take my daughter to school, I feed her. You know what I'm saying? And
well, that's good.
I get in some trades, and I'm good.
Yeah. And you touched on a couple of things that I think are really important is you didn't get that from school.
No.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we realize that really separates people from getting the things that they want and just kind of hoping for them is being open to the idea that like someone is introducing you to this idea that there is another world. And unfortunately, it's typically not your school system. Because you and we didn't really experience that, even though we went to a really great school.
A really good school.
You know? Really great school.
High schools and colleges, man, they don't teach, from my perspective, they don't teach you some of the things that can really skyrocket your level of comfort in your life.
Yeah. What would you say is one of those things? Or not one of those things?
Taxes.
Learning about taxes.
Taxes. I would also say stocks and retirement. Like retirement funds and like all that stuff. That matters.
It matters.
It matters so much, and it's not touched on. And it should be Common Core type stuff, right?
It really
should. The stuff I did Common Core, oh God. It was just unnecessary. But these types of things are highly, highly important.
Setting yourself up for the future, because at the end of the day, like we mentioned before, there's only so many hours in the day. And if you can set yourself up with these multiple streams, then you can have that nice, cushy lifestyle that you want. But until then, you got to put in a little bit of work.
Yep. Like I highly encourage real estate. I highly encourage making sure your stocks are in the right order, and you reevaluate them maybe every quarter. But, you know.
Taking notes.
Yeah, take those notes. But, and, you know, not just for, you know, people listening, but I take my own advice every single day. Like, I'm always trying to refine what is it that can get me closer today? And is the plan that I made yesterday still adequate today?
Is it still working? And are you still doing the things?
Am I sticking to the nutrition plan that I said I was going to stick to?
Right.
Or do I need to adjust because my body's not reacting how it needs to?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Wow. So many flashbacks of how many things you've been involved in my business. Like, it's crazy because you and your fiance, Hannah, were both nutrition clients of mine at one point.
Yep.
Brief, but like, it's just one of those things, you know, you have all these different facets and talents, capabilities, knowledge pools, and sharing them with people. And, you know, I hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight into some of the stuff that you're doing now with your health and fitness.
Yes. Ongoing journey.
It was always.
Ongoing journey, just like anything. And I mean, that kind of brings me to, we talked about this a few days ago, but you always hear about your why, what's your why? How are you going to get there? Because your why? What's your why? Did you go through something traumatic? You know, all that stuff. All of that stuff. And it is highly important. But, you know, I think we have like a grind culture. It's always like about the grind, the hustle, the grind, the hustle, the grind, the hustle. And what anyone, like, elders, you know, older folks, like what they'll tell you is like to be a little bit more methodical about your grind and your hustle, so it doesn't feel like you're grinding and hustling so much, so you can also appreciate what you do have now. But what I wanted to get in with you is, you know, what your Z is. Like, at what point do you sit back and say, you know what, I can start enjoying life now a little bit more than I was last year and the years prior. Like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to be Elon Musk. I don't need to be, you know, I don't need to be that, because I appreciate what I have. I've gotten to a point to where my family and then generations after me are going to be good. Like, what does that look like? I know it's a loaded question.
Yeah, there are so many things wrapped into that question. You could talk a little bit about sacrifice, and we could talk a little bit about the end goal. For the past, basically, since I started diving into HT Physique and the Phyt Brand, it's been grind. And I sacrificed friendships and personal relationships. My family, like, we're good. I did not sacrifice family, and really close friends didn't really get sacrificed. It was more so, you know, like, I'm still single. And that's one of the sacrifices that I made in order to put my energy into this brand.
And into yourself.
And into myself. That's part of the other thing. Initially, it was all about building out the brand. And then the pandemic hit, and, you know, I'm 31 now, and I'm thinking about...
I love 30s. 30s are amazing.
I prefer 28. That was a great year for me in many ways. I could just stay there, but have all the growth. Like being in my 30s and realizing, okay, now it's time to like I want a partner, and I ultimately want to build a family and all of those sorts of things. So two ways of answering your question. Like one, I've stepped back at this point and taken a little bit of gas off, but also basically like reorganized myself. So now I make sure that I work on my business throughout the day, during daytime hours, maybe up until 7 or 8 o'clock at night, depending on clients and whatnot. But then after that, I relax. And prior to that, I was like, no, you must be working all the time. Every single day you're home in front of a laptop. If you're not with a client, you're in front of your laptop building out something. And that became to be, that was too much. Because, I started in my head thinking I need to date, I need to get out in the world, I need to enjoy things. People started asking me, what do you like to do? And I was like, I don't know.
I forgot.
Yeah, what do I like to do? So now I've kind of pivoted into, okay, my priorities are, yes, definitely my business, my online business, my personal well-being, because ultimately I want to be able to have a relationship, but I can't have that relationship unless I'm taken care of.
Ooh.
So
gems. Yes.
Yeah. And so I'm going through this phase right now where I'm making time and I'm spending the money not on the business, some of it, and putting it into activities like wheel throwing, something I used to do as a kid and throughout college, but haven't touched in 9 years.
Yeah.
Or, just doing things that you like to do. I like to see sunsets, so sometimes if I've been trapped in my house all day, I'll just be like, gotta catch the sunset.
Yeah.
Drive off real quick, spend an hour away and clear my head.
That is underappreciated.
Yeah.
And there's a book, I'm gonna have to figure out which one it was. I'm reading so many books these days.
Oh, good for you.
I'm trying. I am so trying. It's like,
I struggle with reading.
It is like, it's a commitment too.
It's just hard. It's just hard.
Not to read, but.
No, I can definitely read. I can read really, really well. I'm actually a really great out loud reader too.
I
you
bet.
ever need me to read out loud.
Yeah, voiceover work too.
Yeah. But reading itself is really a difficult task. I find it challenging. Okay, so the book that you're reading right now, you're not really sure which one it is.
Yeah, I gotta get back to you about that.
Okay.
I'm gonna refer it. I'm gonna post about it too.
Okay.
For real, because this conversation highly taps on the book that I will get the name of. Talks about how many weeks that you have, like from birth.
Oh, okay, interesting.
The average amount of weeks that you have to live.
Okay.
And making sure that your weeks are mostly committed to you. And you don't give them away. And that's something, I read that while I went to Hawaii for like 10 days, and I was just like, in this book, I was like, dang, I need to make sure that my days and my weeks are like, the net of time spent is on me. Because at the end of your life, what are you going to say? You don't know who you are. You don't know where your time has gone. No.
Yeah.
Not at all. But anyways, so that's really dope that you are finally stepping back a little bit, taking your foot off the gas. But it's still on the gas. It's just a little bit.
Oh, it's on the gas. Because ultimately, to really answer your question, I want to be able to go back to my mom and tell her, your house is paid. Your car is paid. You don't have to ever work another day in your life. You can actually retire.
Chill.
You don't need to worry about paying any bills. And also my own random, your random things of debt, like your school loan debt, all these types of things. I want all of that to be cleared out.
Yeah.
So I'm really going for mom, and then clear all my stuff out.
That's freedom for you.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Because debt in America, it's a ball and a chain.
Depends.
Good debt, business debt. Okay, business debt is good. Get business debt. I got that. Yeah. I have a little bit of that.
That's important. That's important. We can have a whole nother conversation about it. I also
exactly.
I took a very good course on that.
Really? Yeah.
Oh yeah. To where you can be highly leveraged but you have the best rates.
Yeah.
You are always approved.
I'm sure you're familiar with credit card debt. Are you in there? Yeah, you said 10x, so I was like, yeah, he knows.
But, yeah.
You pick and choose.
You gotta pick and choose. Yeah. Anyways, so look. Is there anything else I didn't cover that you wanted to talk about? Tell people more about Heather Thomas, not just HT Physique, not just the Phyt Brand. Well,
ultimately, I am the Phyt Brand. Mentally, physically fit. I'm working on my mental portion. I've done the physical aspect. I'm happy with where I am physically. Now it's just getting the other portion, the mental piece, which is to be completely fit. PHYT. So, I mean, there are so many other things that we could talk about, but they would all come down to the main things, which are I set a goal in place.
Mm-hmm.
I took the steps in order to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You check in and you make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do in order to get there.
Oh, yeah.
And you can consistently reevaluate, reassess, and adjust. That's really all it is.
Your mental ability to do that and have accomplished it is amazing.
Especially in the entrepreneurial world, you're doing a lot of things that you've never done before. And when you do things you've never done before, you feel fear, you feel anxiety, you feel stress, you feel that parasympathetic nervous system like kicking up and getting engaged. Are you going to fight? Are you going to fight? Like, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I had to learn to approach that fear. I had to learn to feel it, recognize it, and then push it back down and keep it pushing.
Yep.
And honestly, that has been one of the biggest things that has led to the success that I currently have and the success that I will continue to have is approaching that fear again and again and again. And it happens every single day. Somebody cuts you off and they hop in line in front of you, but you don't say anything. I'm going to say something. If I feel like, if I feel like that in that moment.
Yeah.
But you could just cut all of that until before all of that section. Yeah. No. Approach the fear. Boom, done.
You're completely right. I attack fear straight on, and a lot of the endeavors that I've had over the past 3 years, which has been completely transitional for me, I've attacked head on. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know how to do that. All right, let's do it.
Let's figure it out.
Let's figure it out. So, anyways, like, Heather has been amazing. It has been absolutely amazing. I really hope that everyone watching, took something away from our conversation.
Yeah.
And why don't you just tell everyone kind of like where they could find you, IG, wwws, what have you.
For sure. Well, thank you again for inviting me, allowing me to come into your space. Thank you for allowing me to begin a reality of a manifestation, right? A manifestation journey. Again, my name is Heather. I go by HT for short. You can find me on Instagram at HT_Physique or at the Phyt Gym, PHYT. And if you want to visit me online, it's just htphysique.com. That's it.
We'll post the links. Hit her up. She's a great trainer. And she's a great human with the energy that will just blow your mind. All right, if you want positive energy, if you want to stay motivated, you gotta hit up Heather. All you gotta do is like follow her post, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I could do this today.
Motivated.
Yeah, all day.
I like it.
But thank you again. Thanks everybody for watching another episode of the 83K Way, and we will see you guys next time.